Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my reveals. I have to be honest, when I got my cards, I was not excited about them. I saw them and there was some good and bad, and it was like very average. As was most of the reaction I was seeing from people about the cards that were being revealed already. So I had a bit of a dive into analyzing like what all these reveals meant. Like, why did I get the three cards that I got? They're all quite different and didn't really seem to synergize with each other. But when I started seeing the other reveals, I started seeing a pattern, or a few patterns. I might be wrong, but I'm going to go through that tonight. I'm going to go through and have a look at what they are, look at what the other reveals are, and how I think this means it's all going to work together. Let me know if you disagree. Let me know if you agree. But I think what I've managed to put together is a breakdown of what the White Scars faction is going to be. So we're going to start digging and see where this rabbit hole takes us. Let's begin with a pile of cards. All the reveals I've seen so far. Well, most of them. Now let's break it down into categories and figure out what's happening with the White Scar Legion. The first and most obvious thing that everyone's already noticed is they have a lot of ways to return cards from their battlefield to their hand or to their deck. This is clearly meant to represent the hit and run aspect of White Scar's warfare, where they'll ride in fast, hit you hard, ride back out again. So, well, this is more the run part. But a good hit and run needs a hit. And as people have noticed, they're also good at the hit. Namely, finding vehicles, putting vehicles in their hand, and hitting with them. Often with something like flank, or sneak attack, or fast, or increased attack values. Which brings me to my first reveal. Ride the Winds, a 2 energy tactic, which gives +1/+0 to vehicles in play and in your hand. Not the most powerful tactic here, and it does help that it gives them both in play and in your hand. That's extra value there. But these types of tactics, not seeing a lot of use in competitive play typically. They tend to be a little bit slow. You know, the +1 can help, and maybe depends on how the White Scars turn out. Maybe this is actually a good thing. Maybe there's something they need. You know, it might be very very valuable to have that extra 1 point of attack, but for 2 energy, it's a bit steep. You know, we see in jumping to mind is the Iron Warriors, like vehicle buffs or troop buffs. Some see use, like Logos, which manages to give extra attack to your vehicles you put down. But that's all vehicles for the rest of the game, not just the ones you're holding or the ones on the table. And also, it has a secondary use of healing yourself, which many people just take it for that. So, yeah, I'm not super impressed with this card. It might be nice sometimes. It might work. It might maybe just fits a niche that needs. But I'm not expecting too much out of it. But that's okay though. Not every card needs to be super valuable, like blowout, win the game cards, especially not on turn 1. But the main point here is it's following the theme of the hit really hard with vehicles quickly theme. You see other troops which are put down. Any troop you put down has +2 for 1 turn. Which, when you think about it, that means it must have a lot of flank and fast and things like this. I mean, the White Scars don't strike me as particularly defensive, but that's the only thing you can use it for apart from flank and fast. But we see here with card Ride the Winds, the jet bike, the Outriders, and the fast unit, you could have a unit coming in for 7, and that's directly to the face. And as I say, I don't think Ride the Winds is particularly powerful, but if you really want that little extra edge of damage, this is what it's for. Also note that something I've noticed with all these cards here is that going all the way back to your deck seems to be a thing, but none of them leave you down a card. If you send it back to your deck, you're drawing a card. So they're going to be quite good at keeping up cards in their hand, and it means that they won't be playing with the same troops that they start with all the time. They'll be cycling through them, which is very much like how you'd expect the White Scars to play. And I like that. Moving right along, the next category is what I'm going to call Isolation. There are a few cards we've already seen which basically want you to clear the board of enemy troops, and they're going to reward you for it, like the 2 tactics, which basically say use this on troops by either drawing you a card or finding a vehicle from your deck. Troop who comes in with First Strike and gets +2 if there's no enemy troops on the board. First Strike, very good at clearing enemy troops, and the +2, that's basically reward for saying well done on clearing the troops. There's also the legendary we saw who comes down and just blows up a troop. And last of all, the card that I'm going to reveal next, the Caravachir, the Caravachir Tactical Squad, a 2/2 for 2, very plain and boring, except it's got a conditional rally. If your opponent has no troops, again with the no troops, gain +1/+1. Of course, I'm instantly reminded of the Emperor's Children similar squad, the one that gives +1/+1 on rally. Perfection. If they have perfection, they get +1/+1. Or the Ultramarines one that, for courage, gives them +1/+1. So this is a card I think will definitely see a lot of play, because the other two do. I mean, a 3/3 for 2 is very good value. And yeah, there's conditions, but like if you're going first, you meet the conditions. Same as the perfection card. It's probably easier to meet these conditions than the courage card. And once again, going with the theme of like, you clear the board of enemy troops, you get an advantage. And here's the advantage. And it might even be easier to meet than the perfection in some circumstances. So not a lot else to say about this one. It's just a really good card, I think. So now we're starting to see a outline of the White Scars form and how they're going to play. They're going to come in, they're going to hit fast, and then they're going to be very good at removing your troops from the board. But for what end? And that's where I think the last piece comes in, turning your warlord into a frenzied bike riding space Mongolian. Cards like Skillful Rider are going to turn him into a combat monster, just like Lucius, being able to run through and just gobble up all the enemy troops that are left with a bit of damage left on them. The Golden Rhino is a nice way to come down and get a bit of a healing. We saw another healing tactic, and we're about to see the card I'm revealing next, the Anagal Veteran Squad. It's a 4/5 for 5. And very average stats on that, but does have an ability, of course. And that ability is it gives +1 attack to your warlord just by being on the board. Combine that with Skillful Rider, and he's going to be like a permanently +1 Lucius all the time. You get 2 of them down, maybe 4 attack, just gobbling up all the troops you can see. Really good for controlling, really good for wiping out the board, and then at the end he gets to deliver a punch to the face. Look, if there is enough warlord support here for things like this, I really think there's going to be other cards as well we're going to find, maybe other equipment or similar to Skillful Rider, or like not equipment but like ability cards, maybe a bike or something like this. So it looks to me like the Warlord will be the final piece of the puzzle. Like someone who can come in and just help with the control of removing all the enemy troops. And then at the end just be a big powerhouse to beat away at the enemy Warlords phase 2. So once again, fairly simple card, but one I quite like. It's not as good as the last one. The last one's a very good value card. This one, it will depend. But in many situations, I think it's very worth it. And so that's it. I think now we've got a very good picture of what the White Scars are going to be. A fast, hard-hitting army which will come in, isolate your Warlord by tearing his troops to pieces with tactics, and every time he put down a new troop, he sends in another round of his troops to smash it to pieces. Then he takes it, puts it back in his deck, and then he draws a whole new card to do it to you next turn. Meanwhile, you're down a card, and when you finally start thinking, well, maybe I can put enough cards on the board here to build a board presence. Nope, because now the Great Khan himself joins in. He doesn't even need cards or troops anymore to tear you to pieces, and then you're left all alone as his troops are sitting on the board, getting more and more powerful simply by the fact that you are alone. So that's it for today. That's my take on the White Scars reveals and what the faction will play as. I hope that you all had a good time. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and looking forward to seeing you on the battlefield. I know I began this by being quite unexcited by what I was seeing, but looking more and more, I'm really excited for what the White Scars might be. Even though they may not have a new mechanic, I think they're just going to be very good at the mechanics they do have. Hopefully. I think that's the plan, and let's see if it comes together. Except, of course, for my favourite new card, and that is Stormsinger. Oh my god, these names. Ulagai. Stormsinger Ulagai. Stormsinger Ulagai. A 3/6 for 5 mana. Not great stats. Not great stats. But, does anyone remember back when Lucius was kind of popular? Everyone was saying, wouldn't he be so much better if he healed every single time he attacked? Someone on the dev team thought so too. I present Stormsinger Ulagai. Heal 2 to your Warlord when it attacks. I wonder what that could combo off well with. It's also got a little direct damage thing, but that's more just to let him sit there and not have to take damage and still contribute. But that, man, that healing, that looks good. With the battle honor and the healing, well, I think we've got something here. Anyhow, now we're really off. See you all next time. Oh, and make sure you check out Maximo's reveals coming up in just an hour or two. And then Chauvin will have some just after that.